Okay. So, good morning, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Club of Baroda meeting. And today we have a new guest speaker for us. She is Dr. Varsha Shah, essentially a consultant pediatrician, and now has progressed to become a lifestyle medicine consultant based in Baroda. She is MD Pediatrics and pursuing postgraduate diploma in lifestyle medicine from CMC Vellore. She is affiliated with SBKS Medical Institute Sumandip Vidyapith Vadodara, Vagodia. And she is working with PAN, that is Physicians Association for Nutrition. She is consulted at Sharan, SHARN, organization working on disease reversal and Prakriti Heal for holistic healing. And she is going to talk about from sickness to wellness, empowering health through lifestyle medicine. We talk a lot about lifestyle medicine in a lot of diseases related with lifestyle. Today, we'll have a very focused discussion on evidence-based, this lifestyle medicine. So, Varsha, welcome to Saturday Club of Baroda. You have about 40-45 minutes to talk, and we'll keep about 10-15 minutes per interaction. So, over to you, Dr. Varsha. Varsha, could you hear me?
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody, and opportunity to share.
Connection is unstable, it seems. Varsha, your slide is not seen.
बंद कर दे जो लाइट हो वो तो बाहर छू એટલે लाइट
Hello.
What happened?
Disconnected. The internet got disconnected. I'm joining again.
So what I suggest is that you keep your mobile hotspot also tethered so that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please do that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. She is reconnecting. Please wait. So when we are waiting for her to rejoin, if anybody wants to comment on lifestyle medicine, you can make some comments to engage the audience. Dr. Manoj Yadav, Kiran Bhai, Praveen Bhai, Jagdish Bhai. She is going to talk about reversal of disease. So in your experience as physicians, if you want to make some comments.
Sir, am I audible?
Now you are audible. Please start the screen sharing. We are able to see your screen. Just put it on the slide. So
Yes, sir. Is it audible now?
yes,
it's
audible, visible. So you can go ahead with your talk now. Yes, please.
I'm sorry for this interruption. Thank you, sir.
It's okay.
So we'll start, we'll walk through the case sharing. Then we'll see why we are seeing a epidemic of chronic diseases, and that also at a younger age. So we'll discuss this paradigm shift which has occurred in the last few decades, the solution that is lifestyle medicine. And in lifestyle medicine, I will be concentrating more on whole food plant-based lifestyle, or a diet that which we work on for preventing, treatment, and even reversal of chronic disorders. And at the end, I will summarize the presentation. So we'll start with the cases. This is one of my first cases that I came across when I started lifestyle medicine practice. He's a 36-year-old IT professional who is a known case of diabetes for more than 6 years, elevated lipid profile with weight loss of 2 kgs in last 1 month, uncontrolled sugars with an HbA1c of 10.5, triglycerides of 570. In addition, he had acidity, insomnia, food cravings, and decreased concentration at work and home. He was already on Janumet, that is sitagliptin with metformin, on telmisartan, glimepiride, acarbose. He was on Finate, Roseday, Diavit Plus. To add to this, the endocrinologist had advised that if the sugars don't come under control, temporarily insulin would be started. So the family was extremely anxious because they thought he's too young to go on insulin. So we did an assessment. So what we do in lifestyle medicine is what we take the dincharya history. That is, we take the history completely from the time you get up till the time you sleep. What do you do? What do you eat? And in general, how does your day go about? And that then, what do you do on weekends? So it's a complete lifestyle evaluation. Then we do a complete anthropometric assessment, which is, of course, assessment of the BMI, height, weight, abdominal circumference, chest circumference, hip circumference. And along with that, we do a body composition analysis, which gives you the fat percentage, the visceral fat, the subcutaneous fat, the muscle percentage. Then we do what is called as the physical activity assessment, which we follow now the Fit India guidelines. So basically, physical activity is assessed under 5 headings. It is assessed under cardio, flexibility, endurance, core strength, both the limb strength and the core abdominal strength, posture, and flexibility, and stress evaluation depending upon the case. Now, the diabetes prevention program that we usually run is customized according to the patient. So in this patient, we did weekly sessions for 4 weeks where lifestyle medicine interventions were given. And then once a month, follow up for the next 3 months. So usually for diabetes, we see results at the end of 3 months. Now, in this patient, at the end of 6 months, these were the changes that were observed. In the beginning, he was on 8 tablets. At the end of 6 months, he was off tablets. he lost weight from 78 kgs to 62 kgs. His energy levels improved. His HbA1c became back to normal, not even pre-diabetes, it was 5.6. And triglycerides reduced from 570 to 190. Now, this is reversal of diabetes. This patient maintained this reversal for around 2 years. And then when he got transferred to Mumbai and he had to eat outside where he could not sustain this lifestyle, again the HbA1c came up to 7, which he realized, and he again changed his lifestyle to maintain an HbA1c between 5.6 to 6. This is the second case. A 72-year-old grandmother, a known case of hypertension, hyperlipidemia, joint pains, was admitted to the ICU for chest pain and diagnosed with myocardial infarction and advised angioplasty, single vessel angioplasty. She refused getting the procedure done and was discharged with all the medications like telmisartan, Naxtone, Ivanode, Nicoran, Eltroxin, all the cardiac plus antihypertensive medications plus the lipid lowering drugs. Now, when she was discharged, she was weak, breathless, and could barely walk to the washroom. So her daughter used to follow a whole food plant-based lifestyle. So it was easier for me to put this patient on a whole food plant-based diet, gradual physiotherapy, meditation, breathing exercises. 2 weeks later, she was put on a stationary cycle and then exercise was built up along with posture, balance, endurance training, bit by bit. Now, after 1 year, she was at the end of 1 year, she was only on 2 tablets per day, that is Ecosprin and Eltroxin. She lost around 8 kgs in 1 year. And at the end of 1 year, she was enjoying her time with playing around with her grandchildren. Now, in this case, her goal or her sense of purpose was playing with her children. So that was what the goal we set. So every time you do a lifestyle consultation, there is goal setting, there is what barriers what are the challenges and the barriers that we can overcome. And it is a gradual process that happens over a period of time. Now, I'm just sharing this slide. This is from Dr. Esselstein's book, Preventing and Reversing Heart Disease. Now, this is one of his colleagues who had, again, a myocardial infarction, angiography done, stent not put into it, and there was a reversal which was demonstrated after 18 months. Now, we did not do an angiography, repeat angiography in this patient, but the fact that she could run around with her kids and play itself was an evidence that she was much better. Then this is case 3. This is a patient with multiple sclerosis. Patient with multiple sclerosis who was again presented with limb weakness, blindness. She took medications for 1 year, including biologics, endoxan, including biologics, endoxan. Excuse me, sir, just a second. Including biologics, endoxan, and steroids. When referred to the team, she was depressed and hopeless. Excuse me, sir, just a second. Just please. Please.
हाँ तो सेम है देखो चालू ही की तुम्हें
Sorry, sir. I'm sorry for the interruption.
No issue. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So is the slide visible?
Yeah, visible. Yes.
So when she was referred to the team, uh, she had no hope that she could recover because she was tired of taking medications. She was started gradually on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, physical activity. And at the end of 3 years, she was off medications. Now, we all know that autoimmune disease is very difficult to treat. Means even after treatment, even after giving steroids, biologics, the recovery is very slow and we cannot arrest the progression in certain cases. Similarly, like after coming into lifestyle medicine, I have seen more of autoimmune cases than I have seen in the last 20 years. So again, this was a case of Sjogren's syndrome, who was put on steroids, developed high sugar, so steroids had to be stopped. Then she consulted a homeopath. She was put on some medication. She was better for 6 months or a year. And again, back to square one. So we again put her on whole food plant-based lifestyle, counseling, yoga. The only improvement that we could see was that at the end of 3 months, she did not have to get up at night to drink water. Now, what happens in Sjogren's syndrome is basically you have extreme dryness of the mouth and dryness of the eyes. So she had extreme dryness of the mouth leading to, even falling of teeth. So she could not even have a good night's sleep. She had to get up in the between at night to drink water to just moisten her mouth. So at the end of 3 months, she was so grateful that she could sleep continuously for say 5 to 6 hours. And a year later, she said that her dryness had reduced by half. Of course, it had not disappeared, but she was much more comfortable. Now, this is the last case. We have a 14-year-old boy who was diagnosed with cough as asthma with central obesity, where his abdominal circumference exceeded his hip circumference. He was on 2 inhalers, Monter LC. He was averagely controlled, but he still had nighttime cough at between. And his parents had this perpetual complaint that he falls sick sooner, and the frequency of falling sick is like 4 to 5 times a year at the age of 14 years. The parents were counseled and he was started on gradual lifestyle changes, including omitting dairy was one of the important part in this because the family was already vegetarian. We omitted dairy and junk food.
लाइफस्टाइल मैनेजमेंट पे ऑटोइम्यून डिजीज रिवर्सिबल.
Okay. So 3 months later, this child again was off inhalers and this thing. And after a year, the patient's parents came to me that in the last 1 year, the child has not fallen sick once, in the sense fever, cough, cold, weakness, all that had disappeared. Now, we are going to discuss why we are seeing this paradigm shift, this sudden epidemic of increased chronic disease. Now, this was the epidemiological transition. Like when we studied medicine, like way back in 1990s, we had infectious diseases and communicable diseases as the most important cause of death. Now we have non-communicable diseases, the heart disease being the leading cause of death. So what led to this transition? Okay, world over, 75% of deaths occur from non-communicable diseases, and the leading cause being heart disease, cancer, diabetes, COPD, digestive issues. So now, as we improved on the hygiene, communicable diseases reduced. So this is what we see, we have a lot of heart disease, we have a lot of diabetes, we have rising obesity, and I am seeing a lot of obesity amongst children as well. The obesity amongst children is actually rising. The youngest child with pre-diabetes that I've seen is a 12-year-old boy weighing 90 kgs. So it's the obesity epidemic which is leading to a lot of chronic diseases. Now, the prevalence of diabetes in India is approximately 40%. Now, this is 2016 table. It must have gone up even much more higher. Now, what is this paradigm shift attributed to? According to the Global Burden of Disease study, poor nutrition is the leading cause for more deaths globally than tobacco, high blood pressure, or any other health risk combined. So it is overnutrition, poor nutrition. So we are having people who are dying of hunger and people who are dying of obesity. Now, this is the ICMR India study, which actually gave us that what is leading to this change. So our increased consumption of fast food, oil, ghee, added sugars, refined grains, dairy products, animal products, juices, sodas is leading us to more chronic disease. So when we have unhealthy food, automatically fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes take a backseat. So this is the food. This is our street food. This is our sweets. This is what, it's available, like the burger, pizzas, sugar sweetened beverages, the packaged food, the ultra processed food. And now our D-Marts and Big Bazaar have a huge aisle of ultra processed foods. If you look at the fresh produce section, the fruits and vegetables, it is not even 1/10 of the ultra processed or the packaged food section. So what happens is when you have your change in diet leads to a greater body fat, which leads to more visceral and hepatic fat, which leads to abdominal obesity. So we as Indians may not be very obese weight-wise, but if you have abdominal obesity with a normal BMI, you're still at risk of a chronic disease. So we have less lean mass and we have higher risk of dyslipidemia, hypertension, and diabetes. Now, this is again the ICMR India study which showed the prevalence. I want you to see at the dyslipidemia prevalence. It's so high. It's approximately 80%. Means 8 in 10 sitting out over here have some form of dyslipidemia. Now, so much so that this has translated into Indians having a specific BMI. Across the world, above 25 is taken as obesity, overweight. And in India, above 23 is taken as overweight. And above 25, we are counted as obese. Okay. So we have more fat in our bodies. Now, one of the reasons is this thrifty gene hypothesis, where our bodies accumulate more, genetically, we are prone to accumulate more fat as compared to the Caucasians, Europeans, or Americans. That's why for the Indians, we have a special BMI. Now, this special BMI and our chronic disease burden is skyrocketing. We are the diabetes capital of the world. Now, what is this attributed to? We have a large population who is now consuming animal food. Okay, now this is the percentage just shown of animal food, which excludes eggs and dairy. Our consumption of packaged foods is also skyrocketing. It's almost 5,000 billion it will reach in 2026. Along with this, our consumption of legumes, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables is just going down. Now, what are the chronic disease? What makes chronic disease so difficult to manage? Even with the latest advancements in technology, diagnosis, why have we not been able to curtail this epidemic? One, chronic disease is not contagious, means you can't spread diabetes from one to the other. It is not prevented by vaccine. It is not cured by medications. I mean to say, you control the levels of sugar or blood pressure. Cure is you don't need those medicines. And it is developed over a period of time. It is long lasting and it never just disappears. So what is the way forward? The way forward is lifestyle medicine or lifestyle management. You have to change your lifestyle to prevent, treat, and even in some cases, reverse these chronic diseases. Now, what is lifestyle medicine? It is a specialty in medicine that focuses on an evidence-based approach to prevent, treat, and in certain cases, reverse disease. It treats the underlying root cause of the disease rather than just the manifested symptoms. So we are not just interested in controlling the sugars or controlling the blood pressure. We are going to address the root causes. Now, lifestyle medicine basically involves 6 pillars. It is basically whole food, plant-based nutrition, physical activity, prevention of substance abuse or control, stress management, restorative sleep, and positive social relationships, or it is also called as social health, spiritual, emotional health. Now, the 6th pillar is different in different countries. Like in America, it is positive social relationships. In Europe, it is the environment. In India and Japan, they have put in spirituality into the sixth pillar. Okay. So this is where lifestyle changes make an impact. Unhealthy diet, sedentary lifestyle, high stress, poor sleep, addictions, and emotional problems lead to a lot of pathophysiological processes in the body which alter the gut microbiome, lead to epigenetic changes, cause inflammation, oxidative stress, and lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, depression, and a host of other diseases. Okay, so lifestyle interventions are at two stages: to prevent the development of disease, and once you have developed the disease, to treat and in certain cases even reverse the disease. So now we are going to see in depth what is whole food plant-based nutrition, because this is one of the most important pillars of lifestyle medicine, and it is one of those pillars which really works wonders. So we'll come to what is calorie density. I want you all to look at this picture of the stomach. All the pictures have 500 calories. So you can see that if you have fruits, vegetables, whole grains and legumes, your calorie density is less and you are more satiated. So the first picture is just like, say, 4 tablespoons of oil, which is again 500 calories. But will you be satiated enough? No. So calorie in and calorie out does not work. Now, this is one more comparison. On the left, you can see is the Mac meal, and on the right, you can see almost 13 apples. So both are 1300 calories, but are they same inside the body? You can probably eat these 1300 calories of that Mac meal, but can you eat 13 apples in one go? It's tough, it's difficult. All these are the same calories: 1 bottle of Coke, 2 scoops of ice cream, carrots, and that 1 bowl of almonds. But are these calories same inside the body? The Coke calories are empty calories. There is no nutrition. There is no fiber. There is no phytonutrients, vitamins, minerals. Same as for the ice cream. It has a lot of saturated fat, sugar, preservatives, versus the carrots and the almonds. The carrots would contain those calories in addition to the complex carbs, the proteins, the beta-carotene, the polyphenols, the fiber. So all calories are not created equal. So you have to understand what is calorie density. So this is a rough chart of calorie density where fruits and vegetables are lowest in calories and they have the highest nutrient density. So we should feed our bodies with nutrient-dense foods rather than calorie-dense foods. So what are whole foods? So this is the picture of white rice, and that is the picture of brown rice. In the brown rice, when a rice is polished, or usually only the husk layer is removed, but when it is polished, the bran layer and the germ layer is also removed. So you have this germ and bran layer which is removed. So you have white rice, which is just pure carbohydrate. There is no less fiber and less nutrients in the form of polyphenols or vitamin B and vitamin E. Then this is orange versus orange juice. So you should have food in its whole form as far as possible. Then whole and nutrient-dense foods are important because they boost the immune system. And you should have most of the fruits with the skin, because maximum nutrients and fiber is present in the skin and just below the skin. So don't peel your apples and chikus and pear. Don't peel your cucumbers and bottle gourd. Have it with the peel. Okay, cook it with the peel. You lose 50% of the nutrients if you remove the peel. Certain fruits like bananas, pineapple, all these peels have to be removed. So what we say, eat like a monkey. You know, monkey would eat apple whole, but peel the banana. Okay. And whole foods have fiber, which bonds with sugar and fat in the food and prevents it from being absorbed too quickly. And fiber is satiating. Okay. So what are processed food? Food from which something beneficial is removed, like in the rice, the bran was removed and the germ was removed. or something not beneficial is added, like preservatives, artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers. Okay, so we have minimally processed, semi-processed, and ultra-processed food. This is the NOVA system of group 1, group 2, group 3 classification of processed food. Now, what are the characteristics of ultra-processed foods which our children are eating day in and day out? It is digested and absorbed rapidly. It has multiple synthetic ingredients. It is calorically dense, nutritionally barren, highly flavored, and high in salt, oil, and sugar. How are foods processed? One is this, like thermal processing, mechanical processing. Then you have chemical processing. Now, this is palm oil. On the left in the bottle is actually when palm oil is extracted from the palm, it looks like this, but it is converted into something that white crystallized opaque, this thing you can see, and that is added to almost all processed food, whether it's the Haldiram Bhujia Sev, the Kurkure, the chips, because it has a very high shelf life. And palm oil increases fatty liver, is linked to obesity, linked to development of diabetes and a lot of other chronic disorders. Then this is physiochemical processing, where you even physically and chemically what they have added, they've added something like flavor enhancer 635, color 150D, acidity regulator, humectant, E133. So these are things that you will not find in your routine kitchen, you know. So these alter the gut microbiome, and they also have an effect on the, because they alter the gut microbiome and they have very less fiber, they foster overconsumption, you know, where whichever food is without fiber, it fosters overconsumption. Then you have biological processing. We have fermented foods, which is good enough, but there is one more type of biological processing that I want to share. The chicken eats the corn and the chick gives egg. Okay, so this corn is made up of proteins. Proteins are amino acid chains. So when the chicken eats the corn, these get broken down into individual amino acids inside the body. And this plant protein, some amino acids are lost. Some amino acids are again rearranged to form new amino acid sequence inside that animal protein. Okay, so that happens even in our bodies. So this is called as biological processing. What happens? The corn had 14% saturated fat. When you have chicken, it has 30% saturated fat. So this is biological processing. The corn had 27 grams of carbs. Chicken has 0 grams carbs. Corn had 3 grams of fiber. Chicken has 0 grams of fiber. Okay. So this corn is processed. Again, we have cornflakes, or that is also processed food, or it is again processed into chicken. So we have physiochemical processing and we have biological processing. Now, physiochemical processing is ultra processed food we have, which SOS is added, salt, oil, sugar, preservatives, color, and then some vitamins and all are added. Biological processing causes rearrangement of that protein from plant protein to animal protein. There is increase in saturated fat, cholesterol. It removes the healthy fiber, and plus hormones and antibiotics are added, because we are in an industry where animals are produced only for food. So what are the dangers of ultra-processed food? I will quickly rush through this. We all know that ultra-processed food is dangerous, but this is Diet Coke. Can you see those 4 green lights? You know why those green lights have been given? Because it's good. Any food, in like you have green light, yellow light, and red light foods. Red light foods are dangerous. Imagine a teenager picking up this bottle because it has 4 green lights. You know, that is how the industry manipulates you. So you have 0 fat, 0 saturated fat, 0 sugars, and 0 salt. It would have got 5 green lights if it had fiber. But I want you to concentrate on the content. You know, it's aspartame and acesulfame K. If you Google aspartame, you will get it causes cancer and this and that. But what I want to tell you is aspartame is an artificial sugar sweetener, which is 200 times sweeter than sugar. So what happens is when you drink Diet Coke, the sensation of sweetness is there on your tongue. And that sweetness, the signals are conveyed to the brain that sugar is coming. So the body releases insulin, but because it has 0 calories, you know, because there are no calories. So the insulin acts, and whatever baseline sugar, that also it reduces. So you go into a state of subtle hypoglycemia, and in fact, you eat more. So aspartame is dangerous than normal sugar. It is okay to have normal sugar to a certain extent, but don't be fooled by this diet coke. Now, this was something that my daughter got at home, goti soda from somewhere, some family friend gave. And, my antenna, whenever anything is sugar-free, it just, clicks. So the same content, I'm sorry for this poor quality picture, but it has the same content, aspartame and acysulfame potassium, which is again manufactured in Jamnagar, which is very fine print. Now, what ultra-processed food does is they are calorie-rich, high in calories, poor in nutrients, and contribute to obesity because of the palatability and soft texture, which fosters overconsumption. Okay. Now, ultra-processed food is as addictive as alcohol or heroin because it has a tremendous effect on the brain centers involved in pleasure, motivation, and learning. It leads to actually dopamine release. In one study, few students were given breakfast high in saturated fat and added sugar for 4 days, which showed reduction in performance on some learning and memory tests. This is how fast it acts. Okay, now ICMR again has classified bread, butter, oil, cheese, everything as ultra-processed food. Now, ultra-processed food tells you lies. It sells sweetness without sugar, smoothness without fat. It is all chemicals, and our body is not designed to handle chemicals on a regular basis. So this is one of the papers that came out in Nutrients, which said it just does not lead to obesity, but a host of chronic diseases. Now, why animal foods? So we say whole food, plant-based means avoid animal foods. Anatomically, we are not made to consume animal food. We don't have those sharp canines. And our intestines, small intestine is very long. So processing of animal, we are physiologically also, anatomically also not made to consume animal foods. Now, why not animal foods? Cholesterol is present only in animal foods. Plants do not contain cholesterol. Then animal foods are high in proteins like choline, carnitine, and lecithin amino acids, which in the gut are converted to TMA or trimethylamine, and that is oxidized in the liver to TMAO. Now, TMAO is highly pro-inflammatory and causes progression of atherosclerosis, CKD, heart disease. Then advanced glycation end products. These are present when you heat oil or when sugar comes in contact with protein and fat. It is also called as Maillard reaction. AGEs are again highly inflammatory. They are high in hormones, estrogens and stress hormones. There's risk of contamination along with antibiotic resistance, and animal foods contain no fiber. So this is TMAO. Our bacteria, the TMAO, it is formed and it has a lot of clinical effects. So all animal food is high in fat, high in protein, but that fat is saturated fat and cholesterol. We can get protein from other sources. The mechanisms by which animal food causes injury is chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, endothelial damage, and gut microbiome imbalance. So, association of animal and plant protein intake with all-cause mortality. This was a paper in JAMA, which showed that whether you eat meat, poultry, egg, the mortality with animal consumption is all-cause mortality is extremely very high. WHO has classified processed and red meat as class 1 carcinogen. It is same like smoking causes cancer, meat causes cancer, but meat comes without a label. Cigarettes come with a label. Okay. Even processed meat, class 2A also meat again is classified as a carcinogen, but it is not displayed in any food like how we have warning labels on cigarettes. Now, the last most controversial topic is dairy essential. Now, many of us grew, even including myself, drinking cow's milk. So is it essential for our kids? Let us understand. See, we advocate exclusive breastfeeding and complementary feeding up to 2 years and beyond. Now, milk is, of course, nutritious. It gives you calcium, vitamin D, protein, and fat. And can be converted into other forms like cheese and cottage cheese and yogurt and buttermilk. So we'll compare what is cow's milk and human milk. So cow's milk contains almost 5 times more protein per kilocalorie than human milk. And it has almost an opposite whey casein ratio. It has 7 times more casein than whey. Now, casein is a protein which causes allergy. Casein is also implicated in certain cancers as well. Plus, the fat in cow's milk is mostly saturated fat. So what are the problems with cow's milk? It is not complete nutrition. It lacks fiber. It lacks certain vitamins, phytonutrients, and antioxidants. And children who drink a lot of milk, we see them with iron deficiency anemia because calcium interferes with iron absorption. We see cow's milk protein allergy, infantile colic, lactose intolerance. It has been associated with obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes. It is linked to allergies, asthma, eczema, atopic dermatitis. And of course, there's a strong link between consumption of dairy, breast, ovarian, and prostate cancers. And excessive consumption is a risk factor for early onset puberty. And of course, antibiotic resistance, toxins, pesticides, and hormones in milk also affect growing children to a great extent, including even adults are affected. So these are various research papers which have linked cow's milk exposure to type 1 diabetes. Now, consumption of cow's milk is highest in Finland, where the incidence of type 1 diabetes is highest, versus Samoa Islands, where consumption of dairy is bare minimal, and there was no reported case of type 1 diabetes. Again, cow's milk is associated with infantile colic, and in some cases, it is curative. You stop cow's milk consumption in the mother completely, the colic disappears. It is linked with asthma, linked with acne, linked with early puberty in girls and gynecomastia in boys. It is linked with breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer. So these are various studies which show that milk is linked to not only a lot of chronic disorders, but also there is. Now, why this happens? Milk is very high in IGF-1, that is insulin-like growth factor. Now, insulin-like growth factor promotes growth. So it promotes growth of cancer cells as well. So this was the latest paper of 2024, which shows that increased consumption of milk and reduced consumption of fruit and vegetables is associated with an increased all-cause mortality. Now, people say, where will I get my calcium from if I don't drink milk? You know, my patients' mothers would say. So 100 ml milk contains around 120 milligram calcium. Look at that. Sesame contains 1600 milligrams of calcium, 100 grams. Where do you think the cow gets its calcium from? The cow does not make de novo calcium. It gets calcium from the grass that it eats. So the green leafy vegetables, again, are a rich source of calcium. Amongst that, amaranth leaves, tandarjo je kahiye che, that is also a very good source of calcium. Then where will I get my protein from? So you get your protein from all the legumes, nuts, and seeds. And in fact, there was this, when you get your protein from these healthier sources, the drawbacks of meat, chicken, poultry, eggs, fish, the fat, the chemicals, the toxins in those animals you don't take. So it's better to have a good source. So you have to see the package as a whole. Of course, even chicken gives you protein and even pulses give you protein. But chicken comes along with that saturated fat. It comes along with that IGF-1. It comes along with that TMAO. Okay, now this is one of the most impactful papers which shows that all plants contain all the 20 amino acids, including the 9 essential amino acids. We were taught that plants are incomplete proteins, but that is not true. So this is the paper from Harvard by Dr. Christopher Gardner, which shows you that all plants, whether it is rice or whether you take mango or whether you take a banana, they would contain all the 20 amino acids, including the 9 essential amino acids. The proportion may be plus or minus. Okay. So if you eat plants, it's unlikely that you will have protein deficiency. So now to summarize this, we have what do we eat? So we eat fruits and vegetables, grains, whole grains, not refined grains like maida, have lots of legumes, nuts, and seeds. So what I recommend to the patients, what we in lifestyle medicine recommend to our patients, 50% of your plate should be fruits and vegetables. 1/4 or 25% should be legumes and 1/4 should be grains. So if you maintain this proportion, it is very powerful for prevention of diabetes, heart disease, weight control, cancer prevention. So these are the few pictures that we conduct. We conduct a green smoothie session where we replace dairy with green smoothies because green vegetables, green leafy vegetables to eat raw are extremely very important. In India, we don't have a culture of eating salads. So 1/4 salads, whether it is with those pulses or legumes, have salads at least in one meal. It is extremely very important. Then these are all dairy-free desserts which can be made at home. In metros, they are available, but in Baroda, the availability is limited. So, and one more thing why we should turn plant-based is because animal agriculture is responsible for 87% of greenhouse gas emissions. So we keep on talking about this pollution and global warming. The food on our plate is one of the most important things that we can do to prevent this global warming. And this is not what I am saying. This is what the Indian government is saying. This is what the United Nations and WHO is saying. Go plant-based to fight climate change. So let food be thy medicine. And I realized this change very late in 2018. Both my sisters went whole food plant-based even 2 years before me. They basically, by birth, I'm a vegetarian. So dairy was the only thing that we were consuming. So they quit dairy and I'm like, this is nonsense, So for first 2 years, even I was ignorant. But when I studied the science, it is really enlightening. And when you see the results, patients getting better, patients getting off medications, it is really, really so satisfying. The practice of lifestyle medicine, of course, requires a lot of patience, but patients who can follow it, clients who can follow it, the results are simply superb. So to improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Varsha. You can stop the screen share now.
Yes, sir.
Please stop the screen sharing.
Yes, sir.
Can I-
I'll stop. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful talk. Excellent, very informative talk, and of course, provocative talk because you had some very profound statements regarding not having milk, because we Indians are, when we talk about Krishna and we remember all dairy products, Makhan
Right.
and all those things. So it's difficult to accept that milk is not good for health. But anyway, I mean, these controversies keep on going, but your presentation was very much evidence-based. And I'm sure there will be a lot of questions and comments on this. So we are open for discussion now.
Dr. Varsha, you said about autoimmune disorders.
Right, sir.
And prevention of autoimmune disorders by changing to plant-based food. But we see so many patients with rheumatoid arthritis and other autoimmune disorders who are pure vegetarians.
Right, sir. Pure vegetarians still have a lot of milk, sir. The thing is, milk, ghee, butter, curds, buttermilk, all this again is highly, highly inflammatory. So consumption of milk itself increases inflammation. So I have almost like, sir, 5 or 6 patients with rheumatoid arthritis, including doctors, who were about to go on biologics, and then before that they were like, we'll give it a trial. So I will just share one story of one patient, one very middle class patient who was suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, was on hydroxychloroquine, weekly methotrexate injections. So, and had, when she walked to the OPD, she could barely walk, both knee joints swollen, all the carpal, metacarpal hand joints swollen, the wrist joints swollen. So she's like, I'm ready to do anything. So the first thing that we did was stopped dairy and included greens. Now, greens are hyper nourishing. So green leaves is something that we start, and we start what is called as the green smoothie, because it's very difficult to consume greens raw. After 1 week, all her joint swellings had disappeared. Okay, sir. And she, at the end of 2 weeks, she had lost 2.5 kgs weight. She also was a patient of COPD and asthma and diabetes. So, and her daughter is a lab technician. So 3 weeks later, they just checked her HbA1c. It was 5.6. So metformin and glimepiride was stopped. So profound is the effect of just omitting dairy and reducing your oil consumption. So again, oil is highly inflammatory. When you heat oil, you form trans fats, and trans fats are highly, highly inflammatory. So these are the two things that you can try, sir. Basically, omitting dairy reduces the pain, reduces the swelling. Now, why dairy is so inflammatory, sir? One thing is, if you go to any website where dairy is controlled, up to 1 million pus cells per 5 ml is normal. Okay, and even when you heat that milk or pasteurization is done, what happens is the cells lyse and the contents are released in the milk only. So it's all the inflammatory content that is there in milk. So even if you're a vegetarian, if your consumption of oil, processed food, and dairy is high, irrespective of vegetarian or non-vegetarian, you are going to get that. You are going to that inflammation. Basically, the underlying physiology is chronic inflammation because of oxidative stress. And second, sir, oxidation is a normal process in our body. Like apple gets oxidized, iron gets oxidized. So when we consume food, oxidation takes place because it's a transfer of energy, and free radicals are released. Now, these free radicals, if they are excess in amount, they cause oxidative stress. So you have to have plant foods which have antioxidants. And the highest antioxidants are in green leafy vegetables, fresh fruits, and raw salads. Because the moment you cook, you are going to lose some antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins. So our culture's consumption of fruits and raw vegetables is extremely very low. Like I have mothers who will, panic if the child doesn't drink that 1 glass of milk in the morning, but will not bat an eyelid if the child has had no single fruit in a week. So we have to give that hyper nourishing protocol of loads of fruits, loads of raw vegetables, and loads of greens. Our children are not eating any green leafy vegetables as of now.
Yeah, Dr. Varsa,
Yes.
there are various issues related to availability of various fruits and vegetables. They are having a lot of pesticides and chemicals and all those things. Lot of artificial shining agents are applied on apple and other fruits. So that
Right.
also is an issue when we talk only about plant-based diet. So your
Yes.
comment on that?
Yeah, sir. Ideally, as far as possible, go organic. Grow your kitchen garden, but it is not possible for all of us. So the thing is, when you have plant foods with pesticides, agreed that they are dangerous. Okay, so the best way is wash them, because most of the pesticides are water soluble. Wash them with either baking soda or vinegar or salt. That is one. Second is, there are two processes. One is called as bioaccumulation and biomagnification. So when you have plant foods, versus animal foods. Now, those animals which are raised for agriculture, whether it is eggs, whether it is dairy, or whether it is meat, they are also given the same food which is with pesticides. And in the food chain, the higher you go up in the food chain, bioaccumulation is higher. So if you animals will bioaccumulate those toxins to a greater level than plants. Okay. And so if the option is either you eat plants or animals, the pesticides in plants, in animals are way beyond higher as compared to plants. And secondly, so the fiber in plants, the fiber is the undigestible part. So it goes to the large intestine. So the toxins, if they are present, the fiber removes those toxins in the large intestine to a great extent. So like if you see some milk, now milk, what happens is cows are artificially impregnated. Then they are giving those progesterone injections to maintain that pregnancy. And once the calf is born, the milk is extracted. So the cow is a sentient animal. It also has emotions. So the cow is also under stress that my milk, instead of going to the calf, is being taken away. They tie the legs, they tie the tail to extract that milk. Then nowadays machines are used. So there is udder infection. So antibiotics are pumped in. Plus, after 3 months, again artificially inseminated. But the cow is still lactating. So you're going to get hormones, pregnancy hormones inside the milk. You're going to get antibiotics. You're going to get toxins and pesticides because the grass or whatever is given is again treated with pesticides. And animals bioaccumulate pesticides to a higher extent. So our oceans are full of toxic pollutants where the fish are accumulating. So fish are high in mercury, cadmium, polyaromatic hydrocarbons. So they bioaccumulate these toxins to a greater level as compared to plants.
Got it. Got it. Very good explanation. Thank you. So, Varsha, how do you put them in? I mean, you give a prescribed diet. I mean, your practice mainly based on this plant-based food. So,
Yes. So we have
tailor-made for various patients.
Pardon, sir?
If these dietary, prescriptions are tailor-made for various diseases.
Yes, it is customized, and then we have group discussion. So if we have like say 5 patients with diabetes, the first consultation is customized. The second consultation, so then we have a team actually. So we have a cooking demo, how to cook without oil. So how to prepare green smoothies, how to make salads. That is the culinary medicine department. Then we have the physiotherapy or the exercise department. So according to what the patient can do. So according to the Fit India guidelines, we assess whether the cardio is less or the endurance is less or the flexibility is less, posture is less, balance is less. And accordingly, exercises are shown. And so then there's a mental health expert who works on the stress issues. That because it's a teamwork, and I, as a physician, I lead the team. And then we taper medications as the patient improves. Whatever challenges or barriers are there, those are also discussed. How to overcome to the best of the ability. So what we say is, when I have a patient, we always say, add in the healthy options so that the unhealthy options automatically drop out. So if the patient is having like say 2 cups of tea, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, we say reduce it to half cup and then add in fruits for breakfast, add in salads for the meal, lunch and dinner, and then gradually build up on that. But that also depends on the patient mindset, sir. So like if I have an autoimmune disease, if I have cancer, where, we know that going radical is works. So what we tell the patient and the family is, I want you to embark on a lifestyle adventure for 1 month. So the whole family has to support because, cooking oil-free for few, cooking oil-free, it's a tedious task. So to, like you want to make your father better or mother get rid of diabetes, the whole family has to embark on a lifestyle adventure. And then they have to rehaul their cooking practices. I'm like, at the end of 1 month, if you don't see any difference, you're free to go back to your previous lifestyle.
Dr. Manoj has a question. Yes, Dr. Manoj.
Good morning, sir. A very wonderful, informative talk, madam. And I'm happy that you have given two examples of respiratory cases who have improved with lifestyle. I've been a chest physician. Actually, I've been also practicing this change in diet in my patients. And I would say there is a fantastic response in patients who actually give up their oily food and fried items and go on salads and fruits. If I want to share a few cases, like summary of the cases, there have been cases who were not getting better even with medications, and just stopping all the food and switching them to salads and soups and fruits for even 2 to 3 days. They had a very fantastic response. So I'm happy to hear your talk. One more comment, sir, if time permits, about milk.
We are already overshooting the time, but anyway.
So I think milk, you already said it is controversial. So yeah, I think the problem with milk is not the milk, but the source of the milk. And it is adulterated in a lot of cases where they have seen the problems. About the puberty, it is because of the steroids which are being given to the cows rather than the milk per se. That's what I would comment.
What I
Absolutely.
propose, yeah, Dr. Varsa, if you can just make a very brief comment on this, because it's already 5 minutes past 9.
Yeah, sorry. Sir, milk, my practice experience is any child, whether it's like a 10-month-old baby or a 5-year or 10-year-old child with cough, if we stop milk, say even for 1 week, the resolution of cough is much, much, much faster. Now, milk is mucogenic. It in fact enhances this production of mucus in the system. That is what is my personal experience. And milk is high in estrogens, especially when taken from a pregnant lactating cow, which is there because no one, and all that milk is mixed in the common pool. We are seeing puberty in girls. I have 2 daughters. One is in class 10, one is in class 6. So my younger daughter's friends have achieved menarche in class 4 and 5, which my elder daughter's friends had achieved in class, say, 7 and 8. So I'm seeing an earlier age of menarche. 50% of her friends, I'm seeing menarche as early as class 2. Now, and when you evaluate that history, it is not only milk, it is excess consumption of processed food as well. So, like, not once in a week do they have this cheese, like burger, pizza, pasta, which is very high in cheese. Cheese is 70% saturated fat. And fat, when deposited in the body, there's an enzyme called as aromatase, which causes formation of estrogens and sex hormones. So you're going to get early puberty if you have excess fat in the body.
Okay, so what I propose is that in some other meeting, we will have a debate on these issues, if Varsa doesn't mind. We have
Sure.
Dr. Samir, contractor, who has given a couple of talks on the same subject, but very extremely opposite view than what you have presented. And I know that there are controversies in this subject. So I will talk to you and him, and we can have a debate in Saturday Club Baroda, so that both kinds of evidence we can hear and we can use our own discretion. So thank you, Dr. Varsa, for a very interesting talk. And thank you for being with us. All the participants, thank you all for your participation. Sorry, I have to close the meeting because we are overshooting the time. Usually we close by 9 o'clock because most of us have to go to work after 9 o'clock. So thank you all. And we'll have some more discussion on the same subject in upcoming Saturday Club meetings. So thank you all. We end the session.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity.